Well, hey everybody, thank y'all for coming to my show here in Houston again. Glad to be back. You can get a flashy guitar and play in all the best bars, but I hope you know how to smile, and it'll help if you can shake it, 'cause that's the way you gotta make it when you're young and in your prime. 'Cause it's a fight to tell the truth, and it's even harder in your youth. No one likes a tune that they've never heard, and nobody wants a song if they can't sing along. And so you give them Brown-Eyed Girl. Well, now I sure ain't saying this is a prayer worth praying. In fact, it's something I could never recommend. But you won't never have to fear singing songs that folks wanna hear. And when you're done, they'll all shout amen. But it won't have no meaning, and them rhymes will come so easy with no message in your songs. Well, I've heard so many say it, you gotta fake it till you make it, but you won't be making nothing at all. So I'm gonna write a song and call it Free Bird, for all these assholes hollering free bird and acting like I give a damn. I know I'm a crazy hack, and I probably won't be invited back, but I wasn't making much anyhow, and I decided not to sell what little heart that I've got left. Them gigs would surely kill me in time, and I believe I'd rather be poor than sing them songs anymore, casting my pearls before them swine. Well, now I sure ain't saying this is a prayer worth praying. In fact, it's something I could never recommend. But you won't never have to fear singing songs that folks wanna hear. And when you're done, they'll all shout amen. But it won't have no meaning, and them rhymes will come so easy with no message in your songs. Well, I've heard so many say it, you gotta fake it till you make it, but you won't be making nothing at all. Thank y'all. Well, thank you. Well, it's good to be back here with y'all. I've been out on the road for quite some time. And I think this will be the furthest I ever gone on a tour. I went all the way as far as I went far east as Groningen, Netherlands, and far west as Albuquerque, and that's a long ass road right there now. And I got one more show, then I'm going home and I'm gonna rest. Here's a tune I wrote called Colors. It's about finding love in less than perfect circumstances. Like a silver-robed choir, the sun rose high through the blues. Set the pink sky on fire as I burn with desire and love with you. The back porch squeaked underneath our feet as we danced in this golden hue. And the oranges of autumn were shimmering from underneath the dew. 'Cause colors are all that matter when you're already outside the lines. And what we thought was just scribbles have become a pretty picture in this pale gray night. And our past was pretty shady, and we didn't have the history of doing right. It didn't happen like we planned it, and folks won't understand it, but our love, it ain't black and white. Well, I found you last night as the blood moon shined and dying reds. And the green in your eyes, it was accented by your lavender dress. You hit a long blank stare behind your purple mascara as I so pitifully confessed. I was a 3-time loser. I had a black cloud that followed. I was a formerly handsome mess. And like an evening primrose in midnight yellow bloom, you said to me, I ain't never met a man with no obvious plan and such honesty. in money reds and hard blues. And I've seen the darkest valley. You may have lost 3 times, but you won't here tonight. So let's paint ourselves lucky. 'Cause colors are all that matter when you're already outside the lines. And what we thought was just scribbles have become a pretty picture in this pale gray night. And our past was pretty shady, and we didn't have a history of doing right. It didn't happen like we planned it, and folks won't understand it. But our love, it ain't black and white. Thank y'all. All right, well, it's good to be back where I belong. I've been out here on the road doing mostly opening tours this year. I've been out on the road this past couple of weeks with Dar Williams, and we've been playing to about 300, 400 people. And well, it's good to be back here in little crowds again. Yeah, and I've been out on the road with Matthew Sweet this year. I did about, I don't know how many dates. It's been a whole bunch of dates with Matthew. And I've been out with Paul Thorne and Bob Schneider and Driving and Crying, all kinds of folks. And it's really cool. You ain't got to worry about ticket sales. It's pretty nice. Let's see here. I'll play y'all a tune I wrote with great, one of the best Southern Gothic novelists there's going right now. His name is David Joy. It's called Looking Out for Lonely. My daddy works down at the discount tobacco selling rolling papers and 6 packs of beer. He chugs Sun Drop while he chokes down the crackers. Got a tattoo of a cross that says no fear. And one day he come home and my mama done left him. Ain't leave a thing for us but the pot on the stove. He tore off the porch, fired up his El Camino. He tossed me in the back and then daddy just drove. 'Cause life's got a way of looking out for lonely. If a man will pray to Jesus, hold the pedal to the floor. Now mama took off and my daddy couldn't catch her eyes, holding on for mercy in the Chevy 64. With the wind in his hair and the smoke in his eyeballs, he caught an idea for a fresh new start. He spent his last 5 on $2 scratchies and a buck's worth of gas down at Jimmy's Food Mart. About mile marker 30, my daddy started crying, whispered, "Lord, have mercy," underneath his breath. I handed him a 20. My daddy quit his crying. I took the bitch for every penny just before she left. 'Cause life's got a way of looking out for lonely. If a man will pray to Jesus, hold the pedal to the floor. Better yet if he raises a thief and asks young'un, 'cause asking grace for stealing never works anymore. So we pulled pulled into Sonic and we split us a coney with some jalapeno poppers and a cherry lemon Sprite. The girl in the skates had my daddy drooling as she rode across the lot in them leopard print tights. And I didn't know it then, but she'd be my new mama, though I'd never call her that, I'd always call her sis. And sis has got a way of cooking up bologna fried damn near black. It's a meal you can't miss. 'Cause life's got a way of looking out for lonely. If a man will pray to Jesus, hold the pedal to the floor. Now mama's huffing pain and sis is done pregnant and my daddy's smiling big and I couldn't want for more. Thank you. Well, for those of y'all that ain't never come to one of my shows before, and maybe don't know what you get yourself into, I'm Abe Partridge. I'm from a town called Mobile, Alabama. I actually grew up in a little, some of y'all are from around there, so I actually grew up in this little area called Sims there in Mobile County, but I now reside there in Mobile, and I left there when I was 18 years old, and I went to get me a theological education. I went to 4 Bible colleges in 4 years. I married a woman that I met at the 3rd Bible college on the day after I graduated from the 4th one, and we settled down in Northwest Georgia, and I worked about, over the next few years, I worked about 13 or 14 different manual labor, minimum wage jobs, and it was preaching at the Independent Fundamental Baptist Church and having babies. And then whenever I was 25 years old, I accepted the pastorate of a church in the mountains of eastern Kentucky. And then whenever I was 27, I started losing my mind and writing songs about it and playing and painting pictures about it. And finally got the courage to leave the ministry and move back to Mobile, Alabama with my mama and my 2 children that I had at that time. And then I joined the United States military because I didn't have no marketable skill. And then when I was 33, I went off to participate in a war. When I was 34, I came back. And when I was 35, I started a rock and roll band. And this is a song I wrote about it. It's called The No Teacher Blues. And we just put out a video for this one a few months ago. I was playing back at the 30A Songwriter Festival this year there in Florida, and this fella came up and said, "Hey man, I want to make a video for that song that you just sang up there." And well, we didn't really, I told him, I said, "Well, you got to talk to my manager, you know." And my manager talked to him and said, "Hey man, it's a great deal. The guys are super talented. They have this place called Torch House Studios over in Kansas City." And it just so happened Matthew Sweet was making me go out there to Kansas City with him. So I called it, we told the guy, "Yeah, we'll come make the video." And so I played, and then they used the artificial intelligence to take my being and turn it into like this shape-shifting demon guy. It's on YouTube. Have you ever wondered what it's like? I wonder what Abe Partridge would look like if he was a shape-shifting demon. Well, I've got that. I've got that. I've already made it. So I made it just for you. Anyway, here's this tune I wrote called The No Teacher Blues. Well, I bought me a guitar at a corner pawn shop. I played Guitar Hero, now I really wanna rock. I bought me a music book I couldn't even read. Man, I'm gonna have to find someone to teach me. So I'm going to the city where the rock and rollers live. I gassed up my truck and down the road I went. So I went up into Seattle to find the ghost of Kurt Cobain. and learned to play some grunge guitar like Alice in Chains. But all I found were hipsters with their lumberjack beards and their trendy coffee shops and their fancy gelled up hair. So I asked this homeless dude, where's the underground scene? He said, punk is dead and it ain't had no recovery. So I figured I should try my hand at old school R&B. Maybe Detroit City is where that I should be. I could grow a white boy afro and learn some funky moves and get some black girls behind me singing shoo bop shoo woo. But Motown left there years ago and there was no R&B. Well, I guess Detroit City just wasn't for me. So I headed down to San Francisco just to find my hippie soul. I went to Hayden-Ashbury where all the hippies go. I walked around barefooted, I put flowers in my hair, and I took a trip on LSD, but I didn't get nowhere. To this mystic Maharishi said, you gotta find yourself. So I packed up my truck and I headed back south. And yeah, my mama was the biggest fan, so I was raised on Elvis. Surely I could find some rockabilly pickers down in Memphis. They had Johnny Cash and Jerry Lee and Carl Perkins. But now the Sun Studio is just a museum. That kind of music don't sell many records anymore. Well, I guess rockabilly, it ain't a big deal no more. So I figured I should get back to the home of the blues. The Mississippi Delta was the best that I could do. I went to the crossroads of Robert Johnson fame, and I waited there to midnight, and I called the devil's name. And I guess it is ridiculous, but I waited there for hours. The sun came up and I still had no rock and roll powers. So then I headed up to Nashville to become a country star. I seen $1,500 boots and fancy guitars played by GQ models and centerfold dolls. Man, what they're calling country, it ain't country at all. It's just a cookie cutter product of a crooked industry. And I don't know about you, brother, but it just wasn't for me. So, well, maybe punk is dead, maybe the hippies are through, and R&B and rockabilly have done all that they can do. And maybe the devil ain't still teaching the blues, and Nashville's been taken by these business suits. I'll just play it like I feel it, I'll let it come from my soul, 'cause you don't need no teacher to rock and roll. To play it like I feel it, I'll let it come from my soul, 'cause you don't need no teacher to rock and roll. Yeah, thank you. Thank y'all. All right. Well, let's see here. I always just get up and wing it. You know, it's been the way I've operated since I started. And people have told me in order, I should probably professionalize my thing and write down a list of songs. And I've tried and I've never stuck to it. So I just like, about 2 years ago, I was like, well, why the hell even try anymore? You know, just feel it and do it as it comes. Here's a tune I wrote. One time I was thinking about the way that my life has ended up. You don't end up living like this because you mean to. You just kind of fall into it. And, well, for many years in my life, by the way, for a long, long time, I mean, up until I started doing art, from the time I was about, probably about 30 years old, 29, 30 years old, I lived with just a debilitating regret for having given my life away to or given my youth away to a church that then, they refer to me as an apostate now. And but I gave them 9 years of my life, which caused a great deal of resentment, I think, and anxiety for a long time that I carried with me. And then, the military stuff ain't the easiest thing to live with either. And then I started making art about it, and I started traveling around and meeting people that it resonated with, and made a huge difference in the way that I deal and process all that shit. But anyway, one time I had made myself some coffee, and then I sat down to think about my mind. My mind runs in the morning bad, and my mind started going. And then by the time my mind had stopped going, I went back to get my coffee, and it's done cold. So I wrote this song called Coffee on the Counter about it. This is from my friend over there. Coffee's on the counter, the morning sun still sleeps. I went out alone to ponder in the black summer heat. I sat down in my daddy's rocker to sway through the memories of back when I was younger, before the coffee stained my teeth. Before the coffee stained my teeth. Oh, my daddy raised a fighter, but I can't identify a foe. The devil and I conspire to make sure I never know. Sometimes I stare in the fire, I swing at every shadow. I guess I've always had some style, I just never found my show. I guess I never found my show. Well, I've been a holy preacher with heavenly experience, and I've been teenage anger that I couldn't properly express. And I've been a rock and roll singer. I'm screaming for another chance. And some will call me a sinner, but to me there was no difference. No, there was no difference. Well, the coffee's on the counter, and now I've done lost track of time. It's been cooling for an hour. Man, I must be losing my mind. I'll crawl to the shower and I'll dig down deep to find some feeling that isn't sour. I'll try to forget all these lines. I'll try to forget all these lines. Well, thank y'all. I think I'm going to try. This feels like a kind of gig. It'd be all right for me to do this. And I'm going to try a song that I don't ever really play. How about that? It's a new one. It's a new one that I wrote. I wrote last time I was at home, whenever that might have been. So what I'm trying to say is I might forget it right in the middle of it. And if I do, y'all just, I'm sorry. I'll play one of the hits after this. Actually, if you came here waiting for a hit, you're gonna be waiting a long time. But anyway, I was back in 2006 or so. I was pastoring up in Middlesboro, Kentucky there, and I was just absolutely on the verge of despair, really. And I had this little daughter. My little daughter could fit in my hands back then, you know. And she was probably just about a year old, you know. And I was rocking her on her couch and trying to figure out a way to survive that whole thing. And well, I turned on the television, and the PBS channel had Austin City Limits. John Prine was on, and I had never heard of John Prine, and I didn't know nothing about that. But I started watching it, and I remember sitting there watching it, and I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 songs in, I began to weep about it, you know, and it was like. It was really kind of one of the critical moments in my life, really, when it kind of set my life on a new kind of trajectory. And anyway, John Prine was always one of my heroes. I got to meet him just a month before he died, I was just touring with his son Tommy here not too long ago. But anyway, one night I was at the house, and I was. Well, there me and John Prine was. We were sitting out fishing and writing songs together in my dreams, right? And I had this dream, and I was writing this song with John Prine, and we was done with it, and we was singing it and everything. And then I had the feeling, you know, that one would probably have if they had written a song with John Prine, you know, that kind of feeling, you know, because it was real in the moment.
And then when I woke up, I still had that feeling in my heart, but I couldn't remember how the song went. And so I went into my room and I sat there and I tried to get the guitar out, and I was trying to figure out what we were doing there in that dream, and it just couldn't come. And so I wrote this song instead called Last Night in My Dreams. I wrote a song with John Prine's Ghost, but I can't remember how it goes. That's a true story.
Well, last night as I was sleeping, I was in the middle of some good dreaming. I heard the ghost of John Prine weeping for a song he never sang. And a tune fell from his lips, and a few lyrics like holy scripts. He said, Brother Abe, I need some help to write the last verse of this thing. And you know John has been my hero since I first heard him years ago. He's had a way of making my mind blow with the truth and the melodies. So in a moment of sweet lucidity, I became aware of the absurdity, but then cognizant of the opportunity, I said, oh God, what a dream. And last night in my dreams I wrote a song with John Prine's ghost, and I wish I'd never awoke, 'cause last night in my dreams I wrote a song with John Prine's ghost, but I can't remember how it goes. Like a god of ancient lore, he had been on the banks of celestial shore. He was trying to catch one more, but there wasn't nothing bad. I said, how you doing, Mr. Pride? He said, I'm fishing for some lines, trying to catch the last rhyme to this song that I've been writing. How's that next part go? So I said, John, I seen a tear gathering in his eye, 'cause even ghosts get weak and tired. I said, John, won't you let me cast my line and maybe see if I could find it? And as soon as my hook hit the water, I pulled a catch like no other, and then we laid out our lines together, and then John quit his crying. And last night in my dreams I wrote a song with John Prine's ghost, and I wish I'd never awoke, 'cause last night in my dreams I wrote a song with John Prine's ghost, but I can't remember how it goes. Now there ain't nothing like the feeling of catching a song full of meaning. It's like you done saved a piece of heaven from sinking in a dark abyss. And in the moments before I awoke, that was the way I felt down in my soul. I'd wrote a song with my favorite ghost, and it was the best one that I ever did. But as soon as my feet hit the floor, I was overwhelmed in horror. I couldn't remember the song anymore. It's like it didn't ever exist, and I tried to bring it back in despair. I ground my teeth and I pulled my hair, but it was gone without a prayer. It had vanished with the morning mist. And last night in my dreams I wrote a song with John Prine's ghost, and I wish I'd never awoke, This last night in my dreams I wrote a song with John Prine's ghost. I can't remember how it goes. Alright, let me see if I can remember this last one. Well, then it kinda hit me funny, 'cause it'd take more than an angel from Montgomery to get the ghost of John Prine and me untethered to this world, fishing for celestial songs from the waters of the great unknown, surrounded by the ancient tones. You know that dreams are just a door, but one day when over yonder, when life's veil is ripped asunder and all of meaning is but wonder, well then maybe we can explore the overwhelming sensation that there's more to this creation than this earthly situation, when we're finally connected to the source. And last night in my dreams I wrote a song with John Prine's ghost, and I wish I'd never awoke. Yes, last night in my dreams I wrote a song with John Prine's ghost, but I can't remember how it goes. All right. All right, cool. Well, I think most of them, some of them was probably a little funky, but I'm still working on, I write a song and then I got to memorize the song. And there's far more songs that I've written than songs that I know. So kind of have to put them in there and get them real good and solidified, because the last thing I want to be is the guy that has to bring up the box here and like scroll through his songs. And I mean, if whoever does that, I'm not throwing stones at him, but that ain't me. And anyway, yeah. What is it? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that too, yeah. A little bit of both, probably. All right, let's see here. What time we getting here? All right. Here's a tune. This is a tune about being an artist and a songwriter in a place like Mobile, Alabama, which when I wrote this song, it had less going on than it does now. Right now in Mobile, we got the best stuff going in the whole world. I mean, we got the best music down there in Alabama right now than we've had since I've been alive. And I'm real honored to be just a small little part of it. But we got some of the best music right now, and the whole world's coming out of Alabama. And so I wrote this before all that was going on. My buddies, I don't know if any of y'all are big fans of my buddies, the Red Clay Strays. They was at the CMAs last night, and they got robbed. But they'll win it next year, watch. Here's a tune called the Black Flag T-Shirt Lament. Neon lights cry and fill the silence of the night as the falsely civilized come to seek their thrills, and the Holy Ghost roams these dripping streets alone. But he can't find a single heart to steal. It's just another smiling face and a phony handshake as them posers fill the art district streets. So I just smile back, ashamed of the whole act. That's the price I pay for being part of the scene. And I like your black flag t-shirt from a designer in New York, that in an act of rebellion you bought off Amazon, and you covered your jacket with reproduction band patches that you never listened to even when you were young. But I could love enough for the both of us, but it's getting harder for me to count the cost. And now with every dirty dollar, man, I'm beginning to wonder if there's any purity left in my great heart. Now Nero may have played his fiddle, but Rome rotted from the middle, and folks have a way of weaving myths into tales, and we know our story all so well. It was heroin and shotgun shells, till my generation's art died with Chris Cornell. So maybe it's the influences of my youth that gave me this jagged truth, and maybe it's my punk rock ideals. But this old hippie jam, it's a beach town trinket scam, and like Dylan, man, I'm stuck in Mobile. Now I've given up on crying, so it may appear that I ain't trying. It's just hard to be an artist in this town. So I'll curse here to trod, I'll close my eyes and I'll sing to God, 'cause I knew you wouldn't listen anyhow. Yes, I knew you wouldn't listen anyhow. Thank you. I just walked over to that guitar store down the street earlier today, and they got Lightning Hopkins Day 45 on the wall. And it's like, damn, man, that thing should be like in a box. I mean, I've never been so tempted to break and enter before. Like, yeah. Like, what is the jail sentence for stealing a guitar? Because it might be worth it. I mean, like 5 years? I mean, I probably shouldn't say it's being recorded. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it. Just let you know. Sorry, Donald Trump. Nice try. Good try, Trump. Oh, God. What a dystopia, right? Okay.
Here's a new song I wrote. Maybe if I can remember it. Can y'all want me to sing a new one, or you want me to play the other ones? What do y'all want me to do?
What do you want to do?
Okay. All right. Well, here's a new song that I. I wrote this song. I wrote this song for those who embrace. Maybe not those, because I don't want to make it personal, but for the idea of embracing both Jesus and authoritarianism. It's a weird concept. I quit trying to find a church I could believe, 'cause a sinner will try to sanctify about any damned old thing. And they were selling fried Oreos. They made a party on election day with an assortment of MAGA flags, their pride fully on display. 'Cause all sins are forgiven when the church is sleeping with the state. They've thrown away the kingdom for political debate. Never minding Jesus hung on a Roman cross. They got their eye on earthly power, and the gospel's all but lost. Amen. That's about all I remember of it. There's more to come on that. All right.
What's it going to be called?
I think, I don't know. Maybe the church is sleeping with the state, but probably not that. That's a weird title. I don't know. We got to make something else out of it. Anyway, it's coming more. Okay, you asked for it, you get it. This is cool. Mostly, I've been doing a lot of these opening runs, and I've got like a very limited time frame. Which I have a limited time frame tonight, but the time frame when you're opening for somebody is usually like 40 minutes, and so you have to just play, and it's like 99% people that don't know what they're getting into. So. Y'all probably knew what you was getting into, so it's easier. And I have more time, we can just hang out. Here's a tune oh yeah. Well, y'all bring your friends next time, and we'll have them fill this place up. You're my friend. All right, that's what I like to hear. Well, here's a tune I wrote. I spent a lot of time on the road, and back when I first started, I started doing this full time in March of 2019, one calendar year before something you might remember. It's called a worldwide pandemic. I don't know if y'all remember that, but yeah, John, it's a damn shame. But anyway, when I first started doing this full time, I got a wife and 3 kids that rely on me to pay the bills, and. So it was when I first started, it was the scariest thing I ever did in my whole life, and I was real nervous about spending money when I was on the road, because I wanted to make sure I brought every dollar that I could back to the house. And so what I would do is I'd sleep in my car at truck stops, and when I couldn't find a couch to sleep on, so I slept on a lot of truck stops, because they usually have lights on, and you don't feel like somebody's going to murder you in the middle of the night, And but the people that work at truck stops in the middle of the night are often really interesting people. And if you're an artist and you're ever looking for stories, or if you're looking for something to write about, Go hang out at a truck stop in the middle of the night. I promise you'll have them for days. And anyway, there was one time I met this lady named Arletta at a truck stop, so I wrote this song called Arletta. Well, she wore a calm smile in that old truck stop diner, like she'd been thinking about better days. And the wrinkle on her brow and that salt and pepper hair could never hide such a lovely face. And I said, how you doing, ma'am? Would you mind if I sat down to try to figure out where I'm going next? She said, my name is Arletta. And I said, oh, what kind of name is that? She said, my name is Arletta. And I said, oh, what kind of name is that? Well, your daddy must have been a big country music fan. Or is that an old family name? She said, yeah, my daddy was a fan of the great Loretta Lynn, but he just liked the sound that Arletta made. And now what about you, son? Are you out here all alone? I said, ma'am, I've been on this bender now for days. And frankly, I would have loved the fella that called his daughter Arletta just for the sound that it made. Frankly, I would have loved the fella that called his daughter Arletta just for the sound that it made. See, I've been trying to find my way to anywhere but back to Tennessee. I'm going to the loudest town that I can find. I'm like a wild hidden rose. I'm like a song sung to no one. I'm just pretty in my own mind. And I've been wasting my life just rolling these dice, but I ain't made a dime. Well, Arletta said, son, you can go on and run, but you can't handle sevens every time. Well, Arletta said, son, you can go on and run, but you can't handle sevens every time. Thank y'all. I'll sing y'all here. I know I'm on. This song's on my heart. Okay, I got you on that. Here's a tune I wrote about my grandfather. His name was James Jewel Paget. He was from a town called Elba, Alabama. My mother was the youngest of his 3 children. And he grew up in Elba and was raising raised up cotton and things, cotton growing up. And then whenever he was 18, he enlisted in the United States Army, and he went across Europe from 1941 to 45 underneath a fellow named George Patton. He ended up at this place called the Battle of the Bulge, and he carried a canteen across Europe with him. And whenever I came back from the desert after participating in a war myself in 2014, my mama gave me the canteen that belonged to my grandfather. And on the canteen that he carried across the Europe there, he had inscribed the initials of his name, JJP. And he also inscribed Elba, ALA for Alabama, JJP, Elba, ALA. And he carved us some type of insignia of his military unit thing on there. And then on the bottom of the canteen, he carved in there England, France, Belgium, Luxembourg is what he wrote for Luxembourg. And then on the side of the canteen, he carved in Germany. And my grandfather came back after the Battle of the Bulge, and then he married my mama after 8 dates. And then he worked as a welder, and then when he was 58, he went up to a man he didn't even know and asked him to hold him, and he fell over dead in his arms. And I really didn't know a whole lot about my grandfather at all, because that was 2 years before I was born. But my booking agent from the Netherlands came over to the United States in 2022, right at the end of 2022, and he came down and hung out with me at my house and down in Mobile. And one day I saw him looking at that canteen, and I could tell, that it kind of struck him as meaningful, and I told him about my, having my grandfather and he said, well, my grandfather had a farm that was basically just overrun, and his grandfather was forced to work his farm for the Nazi thing, and it was American forces that liberated my booking agent's family, and he said your grandfather was a hero, and I was like, I reckon he was, and because I knew that my grandfather had come back from the war, and he suffered with alcoholism, and that was a lot of things that I remembered from my youth, that he was an alcoholic. The stories that I heard, I never met him, but the stories I heard, and then so I started learning all I could about my grandfather, and I found out that as my mama was growing up, and her 2 sisters, my aunts, they remember my grandfather screaming in the middle of the night and getting up and hiding under furniture and things, talking about the Germans coming to get him and all this. And so he obviously suffered some real psychological trauma. And my friend Amanda my friend Amanda, who plays fiddle with me sometimes, she got on that website, Ancestry or something, and pulled out an article about my family. And in that article, there was an article about that James Jewel Pageant, my grandfather, and in the article there that was reported in the Elba newspaper there, said he was one of 3 men to make it out of that spot in the Battle of the Bulge there that he was at alive. And so everything began to make a little bit more sense to me, and I started trying to write this song. And then after I started trying to write the song, my booking agent put together my European tour last year, and I was going from England to France to Belgium to Luxembourg and Germany, just like that canteen did. And so back last year I took that canteen on its second voyage across Europe, and I played this song from my grandfather at every stop across there. And I went down to some of the places where my grandfather. I had a friend there in the Netherlands who happened to be a history person and a real historical World War II history buff. He located what unit my grandfather was in through some records that my aunt had, and I actually got to go down to Luxembourg when my grandfather was injured, and anyway, this is a song that I wrote from my grandfather, who was a hero of of World War II, and It's a way, it's basically like trying to connect with where you come from, I reckon. It's called JJP from Elba, LA.
Well, into the heat of them black belt fields, Uncle Sam echoed across Alabama and reached my pawpaws cotton picking hands and enlisted them for foreign lands. And they took his plow, they gave him a gun, they taught him to march into the rising sun, so the sweat of his brow fell before he'd begun. Give the hell them devils had to come. And they issued him a steel canteen, and he inscribed thereon the letters of his name, JJP from Elba, LA. And soon every country that he would take, 'cause that farm boy, he sailed the ocean blue. He buried his buddies in France and Belgium too, fighting them Nazis nail and tooth, till the Battle of the Bulge was through. He was fighting them Nazis nail and tooth, till he came home with a soul split in two. He married my mama after 8 simple dates. He was hard to work, but given to drink, and they had him some babies and bought him a place as he tried to forget all he couldn't erase. And sleep was often more than he could bear, 'cause them Nazis would kill him in his nightmares, and he'd hide under furniture as ghostly shells took him back under Patton and pulled back the layers. But he kept that canteen hooked to the back door, though my mama never heard him talk about the war. And one time he tried, but she ignored, too young to know what a hero was for. Then by 58 he was damn near through, and he went into town to get his scripts renewed. And he walked up to a man he never even knew, said, "Please hold me," looking real confused. Well, he walked up to a man he never even knew. He wanted to live, but his heart refused. I've grown old with nothing but this tale, but after going to a war myself, Mama gave me this canteen. I keep it on my shelf, but I wish just once I could have heard him tell, 'cause he carried guilt for making it back alive. And I wonder how many tears he discreetly cried, 'cause back in 1945 a man would hide behind his pride. So he was hard because he had to be, and no one ever understood what all he'd seen. But he carved it on the face of that canteen as the weight of war killed so silently. Now there's been many a man who've gone this way, and I can't help but feel the need to say that, you know, it's a crying shame. No one wins when war is the game we play. Well, you know that it's a crying shame. JJP from Elba, LA. JJP from Elba, LA.
Thank you. All right. Well, I guess it's time to lighten it up now. I learned something one time when I was over in Europe, and that's if you play all sad songs, it's a bummer show. And if you play all funny songs and they don't want it, they want to put you at a comedy club, which is a bummer as well. So you got to mix them up. So here's a tune I wrote called White Trash Lipstick. All this is all made up. Ain't none of it true. Well, I was headed up the country just a wasting away, man. This city life's a downer. I could use a vacation. My truck broke down in some remote location. Now I'm falling in love. And you were sitting on your front porch the first time I saw you. You wore a wrinkled t-shirt advertising marijuana. And that trailer park you lived in was like little Tijuana. But I'm falling in love, baby, with that white trash lipstick. It looks mighty fine on you. And oh, baby, I don't understand it, but I think that I'm falling for you, and that's alright. You came a-strutting up to me, said, let me look under your hood, and I could tell by your walk you wasn't no good. You didn't move the way that a young girl should, but I'm falling in love. You had a sheen on your face like you'd been cooking over fryers. Your feet were all tore up from walking through them briars. And that tattoo on your back of the Queen of Diamonds had me falling in love, baby, with that white trash lipstick. It looks mighty fine on you. And oh, baby, I don't understand it, but I think that I'm falling for you, and that's alright. And I could tell that you didn't have the greatest of schooling, and your blonde hair dye wasn't doing no fooling, but you were swinging that ratchet like you knew what you was doing, and I'm a-falling in love. And then you slammed my hood, said turn it over now. You were covered up in grease, but I sure didn't care. I said, baby, hop in my truck and let's get out of here, because I'm falling in love. Thank you. All right, maybe let's see, this will be my last number here, y'all. This will be my last number, and then they're going to do something with the on-air sign back there, and then I'll play the encore. But I think there's something special about, there's a reason that we do that here right now. I forget what it is. I think it has something to do with a special subscribers to the Mucky Duck. But anyway, do you understand? There's two songs left. But shh, don't tell nobody. Really, this is the last song. All right, y'all, here we go. This is, if you're an American taxpayer, I would like to extend a thank you from the federal government for helping fund the creation of this song. And of all the things that you funded as American taxpayers, I can assure you that this is not the worst thing that you've ever funded. And to my knowledge, it ain't killed nobody yet. And hopefully we will keep it that way tonight. And one time I was sitting on the back of a C-130 with a military uniform on in a really kind of a stressful situation, and I didn't know what to do about it other than try to write down my thoughts as they occurred. I thought that was a good idea. Really, it didn't do nothing. So I put down the paper and I wrote for about 20 minutes, put the paper back down, and then A couple of weeks later, I found that paper, and I was like, oh, man, I'm going to make that rhyme. And it became this song. It's called Abe Partridge's 403rd Freakout. Hope you like it. It's kind of just noise, really, more than it is music. I gotta play it right. There it is. Well, sometimes I think we're already dead, or this trap that I call time is just some inception like dream state I'm in. As I lay dying, I think maybe we never existed at all. We're just some five-sensed hallucination, or just the mirror image of a higher reality beyond our comprehension. And I lie awake at night, I can't keep my mind from wondering about what it all means, that I have the ability to wonder what it all means. Do you know that nobody in this whole wide world can give you the definition of consciousness that doesn't venture off into religion or some kind of absurdist pseudoscience? And since I started listening to both sides without caring on to which side I fell, I found out that there were more than two sides, if you really want to know a subject well, which only led me to more heartbreak as I thought about all the fights that have been started by two sides, and neither one of them were truly wrong or right. And then I started considering the brutality that I witness every day, and how numb to the sight of human suffering that I'd become in my middle age. 'Cause all them fascists and them commies been spewing out their dogmas and taking over the conversations. Any voice that's devoid of an agenda has been removed from consideration. And I started thinking about the weapons of mass destruction, biological and chemical and nukes, and that we could have them all fired from the push of a button of this orange presidential buffoon. And so I started reading up on how I was gonna survive a nuclear apocalypse. And after my research, I concluded I didn't even want to survive to live in a world like that. So even if I try to be positive and I convince myself that someday we might actually see peace, well, it's then that I realize in like 1 billion years or so, our planet's gonna cease to be, because the sun has gravity too, you know. And we're being pulled in as we orbit. And if we don't find a way to destroy ourselves, then the sun's gonna do it for us. And so, la 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 la, la 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 la, turn off your mind. La 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 la, la 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 la, turn off your mind. La 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 la, la 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 la, turn off your mind. Because an active mind is the devil's playground. Then my mind turned to the scientists and the explorers and the greatest amongst us all, who gave their lives to learning and research and made great discoveries about the world. And then it occurred to me that all truth exists long before some learned man makes it known. I mean, if you think about it, E don't equal MC squared just because Einstein said it was so. Now, considering this, science kind of seems like a waste. I'm going to devote myself to art. At least an artist creates something of value, a unique representation of his heart. Then I looked around at this plastic world and their frowning faces and their disdain for beauty, and I seen all the poor, starving artists dwelling at the fringes of a cold society. But you know that we would not have for release if it were not for this individual named Beethoven. And we'd certainly not have the White Album if Paul McCartney never met John Lennon. And I said, well, maybe that's my problem. I miss my Lennon. Somehow that chance done passed me by, and that's the reason I'm sitting here singing this stupid song and losing my freaking mind. And then even
this stranger thought my tortured mind began to ponder. Lord, I wonder what if Einstein would have met McCartney first while John Lennon was studying the great wonders. I mean, I ain't saying it would have been the Beatles, man, but it would have been interesting to see what they put out, because I know that Einstein had some pretty cool hair, but I wonder if he could twist and shout. And maybe if Einstein had been singing oh blah dee oh blah da instead of drafting the letter to Roosevelt that paved the way for a nuclear bomb, then a little boy from Nagasaki could have married a pretty young girl from Hiroshima, and they could have sang oh blah dee blah da together and taught their children songs by the Beatles. And I can imagine that the guy that wrote Imagine would have been any use in a science lab unless that lab had the sole purpose of giving world peace a chance. And so we gotta give Lennon to science and Einstein to McCartney. We gotta find a way to get back in time. But then I realized if we ever build a time machine, it'll be based on the scientific work of Albert Einstein. So la 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 la, turn off your mind. La 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 la, turn off your mind. La 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 la, turn off your mind. 'Cause an active mind, it's the devil's playground. Well, nobody died, did they? Did they? Well, maybe we keep that streak going. Thank y'all for listening to my songs. Thank y'all. Oh no, please don't. Don't call for it. All right, y'all tell me what to do there, Dylan, whenever you.
All right. Give me 1 second here.
Okay. Thank y'all for tuning in, whoever's been tuning in. Seriously, thank y'all for coming out to my show here, and it means a lot to me, coming out here. And I'm a long ways from home, and I always love to come out and see people that I've seen other places. It means it's really fun. Doing this kind of thing, you don't make a lot of money, but you do make a lot of great experiences, and you make a lot of friends. And I was talking to my buddy back there. I met him Kayamo earlier this year. You